Hello book friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylin and I hope you are doing it so lovely. So I had this idea in my head on how I want to do my wrap-ups from now on. I am the type of person that does not like filming wrap-ups. I don't really like watching wrap-ups. That's just me. I'm much more of a TBR girly. But I know some people, actually a lot of people, love wrap-ups, and I don't want to leave anyone hanging who doesn't really watch my weekly vlogs. I don't want you guys to be like, I'm interested in what you read, but I don't want to watch your weekly vlogs. Do you have any sort of other type of video? This is for you guys. I am going to do my April reads vlog style. How this is going to go is I'm going to choose my book based off my mood, and then I am going to give you guys a synopsis of the book and then come back when I finish. And it's going to be like just really chill kind of vlog style, no B-roll, nothing like that. It's literally just me telling you the synopsis and then coming back for my review and my rating, and that is literally the point of it. And I really hope you guys like this type of video. I really think I'm going to like this. Spoiler alert, I've already filmed it. This is just me coming from the future. So I know I've really liked this. I think it went a lot better than me filming wrap-ups. I hope you guys enjoy it too. So if you guys want to see what I read this month and my thoughts and all that, stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Booksta and TikTok. They're linked down below. And let's let past Kaylin take it over.
Hi friends, it's April 1st, which means I am here to tell you guys the first book I am reading for the month of April, which is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. And I have not read anything by Stephanie Garber, so this is a first, but I have been seeing this go around Book Talk, Bookstagram, Booktube for a while now, and I've heard so many good reviews. This is the Waterstone edition. It is beautiful. And let me read the summary on the back page because I actually have no idea what this is about. For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in happily ever after, until she learns that the love of her life is about to marry another and her dreams are shattered. Desperate to stop the wedding and heal her wounded heart, Evangeline, I hope I'm saying that right, I'm probably not. Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. Dun dun dun. So this is a YA fantasy romance, I think, or there might be romance in it. I don't know, but I'm pretty excited to dive into this, and I will see you guys when I finish this book for my wrap-up thoughts. Hi friends, it is now April 3rd, and I've finished Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I'm here tell you my thoughts. So first off, I gave this book a 4-star. For a YA fantasy, this was really good. This is everything I love in a fantasy. This was my first Stephanie Garber book, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the writing. This is essentially how it starts out is Evangeline is trying to stop the wedding of her stepsister and like the one boy she like really loves. And she successfully does, but along the way she figures out like something else. There's just all these things that keep piling up on why everything is happening the way it's happening, and I really loved it. It just kept the story flowing really easily. It made me just want to keep flipping pages to find out like what's happened, like why is that and what twist is gonna happen, and I loved it. I really appreciated that the 2 characters that I think you're supposed to like ship them together. They're supposed to be the enemies to lovers. We didn't get any love from them at all in this book. So my thought is it truly going to be a slow burn romance? But also I don't know if they're truly going to be a romance. In my head I want them to be, because we saw little bits of it, and the little bits we did get were like and because we didn't get a lot of it, the scenes we got of them like kind of not even being romantic with each other at all. Like the one scene I'm thinking of is when they're in the cemetery and Jax has something wrong with him, and she's like watching over him, and there's that scene where he like is tempted to do something. I'm trying to be very vague because I don't want to give anything away, but if you've read this book, you'll probably know what I'm talking about. That scene had my heart racing, and there was nothing like romantic about it, but it was just the fact that like, you know, both of these characters secretly have a thing for one another. And the fact that that happened, it was like, but we got like nothing. And I really liked that. And it keeps me wanting to read their story to see like where they go as characters. And yeah, I just really liked it a lot. If you're looking for a great fantasy book, I would recommend this. I would actually recommend this to anyone who's scared of fantasy. I would recommend this book to them because I think this book is very easy to read and understand. There's not a very complex world at all. You don't have like a huge magic system to try to figure out. Basically, you have fates, is what these magical people are. They're fates. So, and even then they're pretty easy to read and like understand what they're talking about. But yeah, I really like this book and I give it a 4 stars. I will see you guys when I pick my next read. Hi friends, I'm here with my next read. It's currently Tuesday, April 4th, and I'm here with my next read, and that is gonna be Caravelle. I'm feeling the YA fantasy. Can you tell? So I'm pretty sure everyone knows what Caravelle's about. I'm pretty sure I'm like one of the last people to ever read this series, but I haven't been in the right mood for a fantasy, and now I am. So here I am. And I am going to go ahead and read the synopsis in case you don't know what it's about. Scarlet Dragna has never left the tiny island where she and her sister Tella live with their powerful and cruel father. Now Scarlet's father has arranged a marriage for her, and Scarlet thinks her dreams of seeing Caravelle, the faraway once-a-year performance where the audience participates in the show, are over. But this year Scarlet's long-dreamt-of invitation finally arrives with the help of a mysterious sailor. Tella whisks Scarlet away to the show. Only as soon as they arrive, Tella is kidnapped by Caravelle's mastermind, organizer, Legend. It turns out that this season's Caravelle revolves around Tella, and whoever finds her first is the winner. Scarlet has been told that everything that happens during Caravelle is only an elaborate performance. She nevertheless becomes enmeshed in a game of love, heartbreak, and magic with the other players in the game. And whether Caravelle is real or not, she must find Tella before the 5 nights of the game are over. Dangerous domino effect of consequences is set off, and her sister disappears forever. Welcome, welcome to Caravelle. Beware of getting swept away too far. I'm very excited to go into this, and I will see you guys when I have finished. Hi guys, it's April 7th, and I have finished Caravelle. I just got out of the shower, so that would explain why the wet hair, but I'm here to wrap up my thoughts on Caravelle. So I love this book. Okay, the world Stephanie Garber has created is just so cool. The fact that there's this game that's put on for people to play for 5 nights and get lost into it, and everything in this game is kind of like real but not real, so it has you questioning, is this really happening, or am I just seeing this? Is this the game playing tricks on me? I don't know, but it is so good, and how everything like ties together is cool. I just can't say any more good things about this book than other than like it's amazing, and I can't believe it's taken me literally years to read this book. This book came out in 2017, and I remember getting like the videos in my subscription box of people like obsessing over this book, and I just never picked it up for some reason. And now I'm like, why did it take me years to pick up this book? Because this book easily is probably going to be one of my favorite fantasy books, like YA fantasy books. It's really fun, it's really easy to read. The romance is so, oh my god, in here. That explains to you guys, like there was a line that I really liked that was said, and this is Scarlet talking about a certain someone. I'm not saying anything because I don't want to give anything away, but this is, I loved this. This made me go, it made me screech. Sometimes he gazed at her as if he wanted to be her undoing, but just then it was as if he wanted her to undo him. So 5 out of 5 stars. Loved this book. I cannot wait to continue on with the rest of the series. So I am just going to go ahead and show you guys my next read, and that is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is Rebecca Ross's newest release. She has A River Enchanted and then the second book to that. I don't know if it's a duology or a trilogy or a series, I don't know, but I just know of A River Enchanted. This is her newest release, and I'm gonna read the little synopsis. When two young rival journalists find love through a magical connection, they must face the depths of hell in a war between gods to seal their fate forever. After centuries of sleep, the gods are mourning again. But 18-year-old Iris Winnow just wants to hold her families together. Her mother is suffering from addiction. Her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath her wardrobe door. When they vanish into the hands of Roman Kit, her cold, handsome rival at the paper, when he anonymously writes Iris back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of the battle for her brother, the fate of mankind, and love. Very excited to read this. I will catch back up with you guys when I have finished this book.
Hello friends. If you guys hear like an airplane taking off, it's my laptop. I'm exporting a video. But I wanted to do this clip before I forgot, but it is currently April 14th and I am here because I finished Divine Rivals last night and I'm here to tell you my thoughts. So before I tell my rating, let me give you my thoughts. So going into this story, I had really high hopes, really high expectations, and they weren't met. Here's my thing with this story, is we're following Iris and Roman and their kind of relationship blossoming, right? They write letters to each other. Iris has no idea that she's writing to Roman. At first she thinks she's like sending letters to her brother, but her brother never gets them. They go to Roman, but she doesn't know that, but Roman knows it's Iris. And so they kind of form this little friendship and then a relationship eventually within the letters. And I loved that concept. I was really excited for that concept, but I was truly let down with that because we don't see a lot of the letters. We see a little bit of the letters and then it's kind of something happens and they come together. I'm not going to say anything, but they come together and the letters stop. So throughout these letters, they're supposedly supposed to fall in love with each other. And it went, for me personally, it went too quickly from, oh, I don't know who you are, to, ooh, I love you. And there was no buildup, there was no blossoming in the relationship. It was just, don't know you, now I love you. And I don't like that. I'm much more of a slow burn person. And I'm curious to see if you've read this book, what you think, if you agree with me, or do you disagree and you kind of like how fast it was. But it was too insta-lovey for me. And it just, I don't know, was a letdown. The letters, I really loved the letters, and I wish there was more of that in the book because that's what this book is pitched as they fall in love throughout the letters. Like, I thought the whole book was going to be in letters. I didn't think the letters were going to, like, stop at all throughout the book. I was kind of disappointed with that, and I didn't connect with the relationship at all. Like, I could care less about the relationship between Iris and Roman, and I think it's because we didn't get that build up, that connection that you're supposed to have. It was just, they didn't, I don't know, my brain just couldn't process it. And I was more interested in the war side, like what's going on with the war between the gods, like why the gods hate each other. Like, I'm really interested in that. And the way the book ended, I will be picking up the second book because I want to see what happens. I feel like the second book is going to get a lot more interesting and hopefully better. Like, this was a good, solid first book into a YA. I think this is fantasy. I'm not really too sure. Series or duology. I don't know what it's going to be yet. And yeah, I'm guessing in the second book there possibly will be more letters. We'll get more of that. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts when it comes to this book. I'm going to give it a 3-star because overall I did enjoy the experience of it. I just wish those things were changed. And also another thing that I forgot to mention is the good first half of this book, the first 100 pages of this book are spent in Iris's day-to-day life. We see her and Roman being like office rivals. We see like what goes on in her life, and
we see that, and that's where like the letters are taking place. But to me, I wish there was less of that. Like, I wish how this book was written, I wish we would have gotten the letters, of course, and I wish throughout the letters she would be telling this person about her office rival and her competitor, because they're competing for like the same spot. And I wish she would tell him, and through that I wish we got to see like the situation that she's talking about. Does that make sense? Instead of being like, here's the first 100 pages of like her life, and then boom, we get into the action. I think it just took too long to get to the action of this book. I would much rather this book be told in dual timelines than just this. We did get a little bit of dual POVs, but not really. Like, I feel like they just weren't fleshed out enough. Usually when you get dual POVs, it's one person gets this chapter and the next person gets that. It wasn't that. We mostly saw from Iris's point of view. We got a little bit from Rowan, but I don't know. I feel like this book would have been better with dual timelines and dual POVs. I don't know. But that's just me. Again, gave this book a 3-star. I thought it was pretty solid, and I'm pretty excited for the next book in this series. So for the next read, I am going to be picking up The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. This is her newest released thriller. And with my thrillers, I typically don't read the synopsis. But since I'm doing this video, I'm going to be reading it for you guys because I love to go in blind with my thrillers. Spoiler alert, I have started this book. I am 40 pages in, so I'm not too far into it. So I really don't have enough information to tell you like what's exactly going on in this book. 7 hours in the past, 7 days in the present, 7 survivors remaining. Who would you save? A decade ago, 2 vans filled with high school seniors on a school service trip crashed into a Tennessee ravine. A tragedy that claimed the lives of multiple classmates and teachers. The 9 students who managed to escape the river that night were irrevocably changed. A year later, after one survivor dies by suicide on the anniversary of the crash, the rest of them make a pact to come together each year to commemorate that terrible night. To keep one another safe, to keep one another accountable, or both. Their annual meeting place, a house on the Outer Banks, has long been a refuge, but by the 10th anniversary, Cassidy Bent has worked to distance herself from the tragedy and from the other survivors. She's changed her mobile number, she's blocked the others' email addresses. This year, she's determined to finally break ties once and for all. But on the day of the reunion, she receives a text with obituary attached. Another survivor is gone. Now there are 7, and Cassidy finds herself hurtling towards the group, wild with grief and suspicion. Almost immediately, something feels off this year. Cassie is the first to notice when Amma, the annual organizer, slips away. Overwhelmed, this wouldn't raise alarms except for the impending storm. Suddenly, they're faced with the threat of closed roads and surging waters again. Then Amelia stops responding to her phone. After all they've been through, she wouldn't willfully make them worry, would she? And as they promised long ago, each survivor will do whatever he or she can to save another, won't they? So yeah, that's basically it. I'm pretty excited to continue reading this story. I will see. Me and Miss Megan Miranda have a hit or miss when it comes to her books. Some of her books I really like. Some of her books I'm like, could have done better. But obviously I shouldn't say that because I'm not an author and I have never written a book, so I probably couldn't do better. But I don't know. It's just something like, I feel like her twists are very predictable. You can see it. Some of her books aren't really fleshed out. So, I don't know, but Megan Miranda is an author I'll probably just keep buying because I think her books are the type of books that you can lounge by the pool or the beach or the lake or just lounge a period and get sucked into them. I really think this is the epitome of a beach read, is like her books. So, yeah, I will catch back up with you guys when I have finished this book. Hi friends, I am here because I finished The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. And let me tell my thoughts before I give you my rating. So with Megan Miranda, she is a miss more than a hit for me. I've only liked one of her books really. Now with that being said, her books are fun to read. They're a great book to just sit down and read in one sitting. They are great beach reads, pool reads, lakes reads. They're great reads if you want a book that kind of has a mystery element to it, but it's still lighthearted. There's nothing really serious in here, which is not me bashing her as a writer, nothing like that. I'm just saying they're not like something that you're gonna feel triggered by or anything like that. But this one, I was excited for because we feature this group of people who survived something, and every year they meet up at this beach house on the Outer Banks, and they get together, but then someone goes missing, and I was like, okay, so this is gonna be good. Well, here's the thing with this book is the plot twist. There was a couple plot twists in this book. I all guessed them because they're literally, the one thing with Meg and Miranda is they're right in front of you. You just have to look. And the big plot twist that had me, because I did not think of it. So there's mention in this book that the thing that caused this accident for all these people to survive was something, I'm trying not to say anything without giving it away, something they came across on the road. The twist, there was a twist to that, and it shocked me because I didn't think that would be a twist. So that was a good twist. But other than that, her twists were very predictable. I'm not mad at it. I just was kind of over it. Also, this book was kind of boring. I'm not gonna lie, which I just like a little more thrilling stuff to happen in my thrillers, but also every thriller I read will not be as good as The Silent Patient. Like, I'm still waiting for that thriller to psychologically mess me up, because that's what The Silent Patient did. Messed my brain. I was like, how did he do this? So yes, but those are kind of all my thoughts. Also, the characters in this book, I didn't like the characters in this book. They weren't, if you didn't tell me who I was reading from, I would have no idea. Nothing was distinct about them, and I don't like that. And there was also 2 mysteries in this book, not just one, and Megan Miranda loves to do that. And I think I figured out her formula, which is, I've heard once you figure out an author's formula, you can never like really enjoy the book again because you know what's coming. And I think I figured it out from Megan Miranda. She loves to do 2 different mysteries and like weave them together somehow. So that's pretty much it. I rated it 2-star. Those are my thoughts on it. Now I'm here to show you guys my next read. I've been slacking on this video and forgetting to show you guys my next reads or wrap up a book as soon as I finish it, which the whole point of me doing this video was for me to tell you my thoughts. And I explained it in the beginning how the reason why I don't do wrap-ups is because waiting to the very end of the month to go over all the books I read and all the thoughts I read, I forget it. I forget my thoughts as soon as I'm done reading a book. I have to write them down, and that's just too much work for me. So I thought by me doing this way, it'd be better. It's more of a chill way. It's more of a vlog style. You know, I don't know why I'm re-saying this because I said it in my intro. Anyways, the next read is Nightbirds, and I'm going to tell you guys what this book is about. Now, before I go to read the synopsis, I mispronounce a lot of names. I'm very aware of that, and I'm very sorry. Please don't take offense. I just have trouble pronouncing things. Like, I hear them in my brain, but I can't articulate them. So that's just that. But let's go. Also, stunning cover. This is a YA fantasy, and it says, the Nightbirds are Simenta's best kept secret. With just a kiss, these privileged girls can temporarily gift their rare yet potent magic to those looking to gain advantages in life, business, or love. But magic, especially the magic of women, is outlawed, and the city's religious sects would see them burn if discovered. So, protected by the great houses, their identities kept hidden, the Nightbirds are well-guarded treasures. Such girls are usually a tight-knit group, but this season's Nightbirds couldn't be more different. Matilda is so certain of her gilded world, her place in it, is less sure of Sawyer, a girl from the wrong side of the canal with a score to settle, and Issa, who's afraid of her magic and herself. But when they find themselves at the heart of a political conspiracy that threatens not only their secrets, but their very lives, they must band together to take on powerful forces who want to lay claim to them. And as they discover the truth about their magic, that's much more powerful than they've been told, they begin to hone it, readying themselves to take down the entire Nightbird system that dared to clip their wings. Dun dun dun. So I will come back when I finish this book, and I promise I will come back as soon as I'm finished with the book, because I'm guessing I have a lot to say about this book. Hello friends, I am here because I just finished Nightbirds, and I literally just finished this like 2 minutes ago. I'm not even kidding you. And I'm here to tell you my thoughts before I tell you my rating. So this book, I had this book on my most anticipated releases book, because the thought of having a group of strong female leads going up against these men trying to change that, like, how the world and the church and the people see them. And they have these magical powers that, you know, they have to like suppress down, but they're like, no more of that. I thought it was so cool, and I'm here to report that I really did like this book a lot. Even though it was on my most anticipated releases, I was still skeptical how I was gonna like this book, because this is a debut novel, I'm thinking, right? Yeah, I think this may be her debut novel or her debut like fantasy, like her toe, like she's dipping her toe into the fantasy world, and bravo, she did an amazing job. And I really, really loved the writing in this book. It was very easy to read, but yet it was still engaging. It still had that element to it that you had to kind of really pay attention to, but in a good way. This book is a very political focused fantasy, so if you like that, you would like this book. But there's also some romance in it. There is some found family, I would say. There's a lot of heartbreak in this book, and I just really love this book a lot. I think this was a fantastic feminist fantasy, exactly what it says it was. That is what it is, because towards the end of this book, it talks about how these men were scared of having women in control because they had these powers, and they didn't want that, and they thought it was bad, but in reality, they were just scared. And they're scared to let women be in control, which I still think we see in this day and age, which is freaking awful, because it's 2023. Women are badasses. We are badasses. We deserve to be in control. Okay, the men have had control of this country for how long? And look what they've done to it. Let the women be in charge. Maybe if women ran this country, we wouldn't be this way. Okay, and that's all I'm saying. But yes, enough, back to the book. I really did like this book a lot. I'm giving it a 3.5. Even though I really like this book, it still wasn't like a 4 or 5 star fantasy that I generally like. I don't know. I may sit on it and it may develop a higher rating, but for right now I'm giving it a 3.5 because I did enjoy it, but at times it kind of was a little bit slow, but in a good way slow, but it was still like not like fast paced. Although I did appreciate that even though there was romance in this book, it wasn't focused on the romance. Like, we saw glimpses of romances, but nothing really too blossoming or really focused on it, which if you guys watch my vlogs, you know I don't like romance heavy books, which, speaking of that, I'm going to show you my next book and you'll be like, didn't you just say? Yes, okay. But yeah, 3.5. Love this book. I think you guys should give this book a chance because it is really good. And I mean, look at the cover. It is stunning. So on to the next read. And throughout the whole month of April, I've read a lot of fantasy, which I've been kind of on a break with fantasy. I haven't really reached for fantasy or wanted to reach for fantasy. So I've read pretty much all fantasy this month except for a thriller. So I want to take another break because I don't want to burn myself out. And this book has been sitting on my shelf for so long. And I've heard a lot of people talk about this book. One booktuber that I really like, Haley Hughes, she loved this book, and the way she described it as like this woman just, you know, living her best life, gardening, and this man, like, I don't know. The way she described it made me want to read it. And that is Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. Even though I just said I don't really like a romance heavy book, I do have some romances I like. They have to blow me out of the waters for me to like it. They have to have a certain writing style. So if this writing style is the writing style I don't like, you may see me very soon. Well, you'll see me very soon either way, but you'll see me a lot sooner than I wanted to. And it's probably going to be in a DNF. But I'm going to go into this with, you know, open mind, optimistic. We'll see. But I am going to read the little synopsis because I actually have no idea what this book is about. And let's get into it. Haley Welch fell hard for Julian Voss at 14 after they almost kissed in the dark vineyards of his family winery. Now the prodigal hottie has returned to their small town when Haley is hired to revamp the gardens on the Voss estate. She wonders if she'll finally get that smooch, but the grumpy professor isn't the teenager she remembers at their polar opposite personalities clash spectacularly. One wine-fueled girls' night later, Hallie can't shake the sense that she did something reckless, and then she remembers the drunken secret admirer letter she left for Julian. Oh shit. On sabbatical from his Ivy League job, Julian plans to write a novel, but having Hallie gardening right outside his window is the ultimate distraction. She's eccentric, chronically late, and often literally covered in dirt, and so unbelievably beautiful, he can't focus on anything else until he finds an anonymous letter sent by a woman from his past. Even as Julian wonders about this admirer, he's sucked further into Hallie's orbit. Like the flowers she plants all over town, Hallie is a burst of cover in Julian's gray scale life. For a man who irons his socks and runs on tight schedules, her sunny, chaotic energy makes zero sense, but there's something so familiar about her, and her presence is turning his world upside down. So I'm hopeful I'm gonna like this book, but I will catch you guys either for a review or if I DNF it, but let's hope I don't DNF this book.
Hi guys, so the last clip you guys saw was of me reading you the synopsis of Secretly Yours. I actually DNF'd this book 100 pages away from the ending. I just couldn't get into it. I really just think romances are not for me, and I think I'm done picking up romances. I just don't like the way most romances are written. I feel they're very cringy and corny. Also, I feel nowadays romances are literally just straight corn with a P, if you get what I'm trying to say. There's really no plot. There's really no character development. It's really just corn with a P, which is fine if that's what you like. It's just not what I like. I think I've said this a million times in my vlogs. I don't mind smut in my book if it's done right. And this book, 10 pages in, we're already talking about a lady's bosom, and I was just over it and what he would like to do with it. And I'm just like, no, we're done. But I gave it a chance, and I'm done. So there's no rating because I DNF'd this book, but that is that. And now I'm here to close out this video, and we're gonna go over the books I read and rank them and close this video out. So let's just start with my least favorite to my favorite. Least favorite, you guys probably already guessed, but it is Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. Next would have to be The Only Survivors by Miranda. Again, this was not a bad book, it just wasn't a good thriller in my opinion. So those are my thoughts on that. Next would have to be Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I actually really enjoyed this book. It just sat right in the middle of my ranking for all the books I read. This wasn't the worst book I read, but not the best book I read this month. So coming in at number 3 is Nightbirds. Y'all know my thoughts on this book. We love this book. We stan this book. We stan this author. I'm so excited for the next book, but this one is number 3. Coming in at number 2 is Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. First Stephanie Garber I read. This is the book that made me really fall in love with her writing and her ability to tell the story. Obsessed. So this is number 2. And coming in at number 1 is Caravelle. This book, I love this book. This book, bury me with this book, okay? This is a fantastic book, and I am just so excited to carry on with the series. Okay, guys, those are all the books I read this month, and this is it for this video. What did you guys think of this video? Did you like it? How did we feel about it? Let me know, because I think I'm just going to continue doing my wrap-ups and TBRs this way. Reason why I'm doing it this way is because I am a mood reader. I have tried TBRs for so long, and I find myself not wanting to pick up the books I've set for myself. I find myself wanting to be like a rebel and like going and choosing another book, which is not a problem at all, or not a rebel thing, but I just find it very hard for me to stick to the books I say, okay, we're going to read this book this month and this book this month, Kaylin, we're going to get it done, and I don't end up reading them, and I end up not really reading at all. So by allowing myself to mood read, I read much more, and I have a better experience. So this is how we're going to do our wrap-ups from now on. Plus, it kind of keeps it a secret of what I'm reading unless you watch my weekly vlogs, then you already know. But I really liked it. I had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys did too. If you guys did, make sure you guys give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you guys are subscribing, because I would love to have you here. If you don't already, you can follow me on my social medias. I'm on Instagram and TikTok. They are linked down below. And I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are reading lots of good books, and I will see you guys in my next video.